Hello everyone, welcome to GS Core. So in our series of current affairs through MCQ, we are back with another session regarding the subject of governance. So let us look at the set of questions that we have today. The tool has been launched by the Ministry of Rural Development, which will help in embedding climate information in GIS-based planning and implementation of MGNREGS. Well, this is a new form of question setting. Which tool are we talking about? So we should know about the tools and then reverse trace them to their specification. Right. So this can be a way which can be explored by the UPSC. So we should know about the various tools: NREGA Soft, Citra, iFlows, CRISP-M. So if we look at the very first CRISP-M, it stands for Climate Resilience Information System and Planning. Does this match? Yes, it does. NREGA Soft is related to NREGA software, Citra is for something else, and iFlows is also for something else. So we should know the specification of these tools, and the answer is very clear, option number A. Moving on, consider the following statements. Use of technology in governance in India has been evolved from computerization to the National Open Digital Ecosystem node. So if we look at e-governance, right, and I always say that while in the prelims the question might sound factual, but they are also analytical in nature if you know the whole story, right? So if you look at the stages of e-governance as given by second ARC, right, you can easily solve this question, the computerization aspect. So if we look at the first statement, it is correct. The e-transport mission node project and the DigiLockers are the examples of node. Yes, that is also correct. So if we look at the National Open Digital Ecosystems, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that is the MITE, released basically a consultation white paper on the node thing, right? And the proof is these projects. So both the statements are correct, hence the correct answer would be option C. Option C. Okay. The idea of the evolution can also be traced through the GovTech 1.0 that was referring to the computerization, right? 2.0 which referred to things like e-office, and 3.0 which focused on the open digital ecosystems, right? And these are the examples. Moving on, the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center is an ecosystem of 7 components to deal with all types of cyber crimes in a comprehensive and coordinated manner. It is being supervised by Ministry of Home Affairs. Cyber crime, right? So generally we have various bodies like CERT, etc., Cyber Emergency Response Team, etc., which directly operate under the aegis of Ministry of Home Affairs. So the crime and the Home Affairs correlation holds true here as well. So both the statements are correct, hence the correct option would be option C. Option C. Moving on, consider the following statements regarding NPS. So if you see, the OPS and NPS are in news because various states after changing hands in the government are reverting to OPS for their government employees. Recently there was also a notification that employees who gave examination before 2004, and even if they joined after 2004, but the examinations which happened for government services before 2004 can now apply for OPS or now can switch to OPS, old pension scheme. So this thing continues to be in news, hence the nuances of it is important. Let us look at the first statement. It is a government-sponsored pension scheme for government employees only. Well, no, that is not the case. It was initially for the government employees, but now it is open to Indian citizens, non-residents and OCI, that is overseas citizen of India, between the age of 18 and 70, right? They can join NPS. So that is not correct. The PFRDA is the nodal agency for implementation and monitoring of NPS, yes, because it is the monitoring aspect, the Pension Fund Regulatory Development Authority. So it is correct. In NPS, there is an annuity purchase stipulation of 40% of the members' retirement corpus. That is also correct. That is also correct. And these were covered very well in news. So we have statements 2 and 3 as correct. Hence, the correct answer would be option C. Option C. Moving on. With reference to the India Enterprise Architecture IndEA framework, consider the following statements. It's a framework for developing a holistic architecture, treating government as a single enterprise which is functionally interrelated. Yes, that is correct. It accommodates both greenfield and brownfield e-governance initiative. True. It aims to offer one government experience to citizens and businesses. Yes, that is also correct. So if we look at IndEA, it provides that sort of a generic framework on which under which the various e-governance initiatives can be aligned, right? So that is the key idea of the IndEA if we look at that fact. Okay. Recently the Meghalaya Enterprise Architecture Project, that is MEG-EA, was launched, and Meghalaya became the first state to implement the IndEA framework, right? So that is important, right? So it seems all the three statements are correct. Hence, the correct option would be option D. Option D. Moving on. Vidyanjali initiative of Ministry of Education is related to. So recently, Vidyanjali 2.0 was in news. Let us look at these statements. Strengthening schools through community and private sector involvement in both teaching as well as infrastructural support. Ministry of Education, teaching, maybe. Addressing the deficiency of the absence of a common scientific framework for dimensions like curricula, pedagogy, assessment, infrastructure, inclusive practices and governance process, again maybe. Improving quality of school education through integrated teachers training, again. Ensuring every child in the country necessarily attains foundational literacy and numeracy by the end of grade 3. That was something that was national policy on education and other things which were national literacy, foundational literacy mission, etc. So we can rule out this very easily, though it is a Ministry of Education initiative, but not the same initiative. But these three options are very close. So at times options makes the question difficult or easy. So if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Right. So that kind of an aspect. So if we look at the Vidyanjali 2.0 portal, right, it was largely the idea to involve people of diaspora, retired teachers and government servants, including professionals from outside as well as defense personnel and women who are homemakers and have the graduation degree, to strengthen the co-scholastic activities in schools, right, under the overall aegis of the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. So this is the correct option. Hence the correct answer is option A. Option A. Moving on. Inspire Awards Manak scheme relates to, again, Inspire stands for Innovation of Science pursuit for inspire research. Using AI to make learning more personalized, motivating students studying in class 6 to 10 to become full innovators and critical thinkers, improving learning assessment and facilitate school to work shift, promoting quality assurance in higher education. MANAK, if we look at, stands for Million Minds Augmenting National Aspirations and Knowledge. Okay, so the idea is here, right? AI would again be a long shot. So it's a generic idea, not specifically related to AI. Hence the correct answer is option B. Option B. Moving on. The quality of life for elderly index is released by which of the following? So elderly, again a vulnerable section under social justice. So governance and social justice, as you know, make for a subject for our study. So we'll have to see. Ministry of Social Justice, very likely. Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. Well, it's an index. That means it is giving an appraisal of sorts. So Ministry of Social Justice largely is the implementator or the nodal agency to oversee. So this can also be the idea. Ministry of Health, remotely connected, but not to all aspects of life, so highly unlikely. HelpAge India, again, an NGO working for elderly, can be, because these NGOs and civil society organizations do come up with such indices. So we have three options that are close. So if we know, we know. The quality of life for elderly index, it was in news. It was released by the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. Hence the correct answer is option B. Option B. Moving on. Which of the following category is or are the beneficiary or beneficiaries under the Standup India scheme? Right. Generally, we include all of them for every scheme, etc. But as they say, that the devil lies in detail. And do we have all of them included in the options? No, we don't. Right. So somewhere there is a catch. Somewhere there is a catch. So let us look at it. Scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, women, disabled. Well, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, women, disabled. If we look at the specifications of the Stand-Up India scheme, right, we find that the idea is to facilitate bank loans between 10 lakh to 1 crore to at least one scheduled caste or scheduled tribe borrower and at least one woman borrower per bank branch for setting up greenfield enterprise. Does this include disabled specifically? No. Hence, the correct answer would be option D. Option D. Let us move on. Justic Amitava Roy Committee was formed for which of the following purposes? Well, this committee was appointed in 2018, just for your knowledge. Okay, let us look at these statements. To examine various problems plaguing prisons, to decide the appropriate level of reserves that the central bank should hold. A committee under a justice on central bank, highly unlikely. To analyze the financial condition of RRBs, again, not very likely, though these days Supreme Court is forming committee on a lot of things, but still highly unlikely. To investigate black money mostly hoarded abroad, again, highly unlikely. Well, prison was in news because frequent payrolls and remissions were the matter of discussion in the public. especially when some big ticket so-called convicted persons were getting payrolls, right? And that is when this news and the committee was highlighted. Hence, the correct answer is option A. Option A. Moving on. All right. So that basically exhausts the question for this particular session. You can attempt more such interesting MCQs by scanning this QR code or by visiting the link in the description, not just about governance and social justice, but about every subject having relevance for the preliminary examination. So that's all. Thank you.